Hey everybody, Brian Tro coming to you from Mossy Creek Fly Fishing with your fly fishing forecast. The date for today is Monday, the 4th of March. Well, it's shaping up to be a really spring-like week coming up. Today, it's going to be perhaps in the 60s. Tomorrow, 60s. Later on this week, 50s. We're starting to get some mild nights as well. In fact, I don't see any nights below freezing for the next 5 or 6 days, so at least down here on the valley floor. That bodes really, really well for our trout fishing, actually for all of our fishing really, getting water temps across the western part of the state to bump up. March is a crazy month in Virginia. You know, it's a month of transition. We're gonna have these nice 60-degree days and it'll feel like, hey, spring's here to stay, and then it's going to get cold again and it could even snow again. So at least for the next 5-6 days, we're looking at warm air, we're looking at improving water temperatures, we're looking at more rain. So chance of showers tomorrow, a really good chance of rain Wednesday, another chance Friday night to Saturday. So just more and more rain coming through, which is just keeping everything real nice. I had an opportunity this past week to go and fish for brook trout quite a bit. It was a colder day and it was awesome. The fishing was really, really good. As to be expected, a bit slow in the morning. Things warmed up in the afternoon, saw fish hatching. The little black stones were all over the place. Water temperatures up high in the mountains were at about 43 degrees. And so we're looking to improve upon that. You know, once we can start getting in the upper 40s, things will start to change quick. As I've been saying the last few weeks, and this stream by stream, so take it with a grain of salt. Not every place is the same. The lay of the land on these streams can be very different. But in general, most of the fish that we've been catching on the high mountain streams have been in larger holds, bigger pools, slower water, better depth. And the transition water in between has just been so-so. Lots of runs where no fish caught at all in some of that fun little pocket water that you like to pick apart. So we'll look to see that improve as water temperatures improve. Fish will start to spread out more. They'll get on little lies all over the place, but you know, it wasn't for lack of trying. We fished a lot of water, and without a doubt, at the end of the day, the bigger, slower, deeper holds, winter lies, were the places where we caught the overwhelming majority of our fish. Believe it or not, even though it was a cold day with cold temps, probably 50-50 on the dry and the nymph. So that was pretty awesome. Fishing some attractors. I like these wulffs that we sell. These things are awesome. They float like a cork. You can see them really well. Even in smaller sizes like 16, they just have a lot of buoyancy. So if you want to fish a smaller pattern, and we've gotten a lot of rain, which we're going to get, and you're getting a lot of turbulence in the water, a lot of big wave trains that just tend to suck your fly under easily. The wulffs, so it's a wolf style split wing, but it's got a parachute hackle wrapped around it. Man, they float and fish like a champ. We've got them in like natural ones, but we also have them in like purple. They fish really well. Small caddis hatch happening here and there, so have some caddis on you for sure. That's a really opportunistic bite for the fish. And there was little black stones all over the place, and I have a feeling that's some of the activity that we saw, some of the fish coming up, looking around. Those little black stones are flying all over the place. They would land on your shirt. Those were the only really consistent bugs I could see. So probably another week or so out on some of these quills, depending on where you are. So get ready for these hatches. I think after this, with pretty much mild or above average days every day this week, I think the mountain brook trout fishing is going to just be really exploding. So it's exciting, it's fun. You know, a lot of folks missed out on some really good brook trout fishing this past year with the drought and the low water. And so now it's time to get out there and really enjoy it. And speaking of time to get out and enjoy it, the delayed harvests are all getting stocked again, as I said that they probably would a couple weeks ago. The state likes to do a big stocking as we go into spring, in addition to the winter and the fall stockings. So those delayed harvests should be in top shape across the state, depending on which one you're on. And we have basically 3 months to enjoy those. You have March, April, and May. Once June hits, they open up for harvest, And at that point, they'll either warm up too much or the meat fishermen will get them all out of there. So get out, plan some time, go to places like North River Delayed Harvest, a little bit of a hike in, but lots and lots of fun to fish those. State does a good job of spreading the fish out. They've worked harder and harder over the years to make sure that these fish are spread evenly as they can. So attractor patterns for those, jig nymphs for those tend to be larger bodies of water, larger streams, deeper pools, swifter runs. With some of this rain around, you're going to want to fish some of your tungsten jig nymphs, attractor patterns, bright colors. These particularly freshly stocked fish, they love bright colors, as we've talked about. Something else that happens too when they put fish in to a system that's already has fish and has had them for a while is it shuffles the deck a bit. It creates, it messes up the pecking order, so to speak, okay? So fish, just like any animal, will get on preferred lies. More dominant fish will take a prime lie, place where they have good access to food and shelter all at the same time. And then all of a sudden, state comes in and just dumps buckets of fish on top of it, and that really messes things up. It could actually really create a situation where the fish that were there start to eat aggressively simply to assert their spot in the pool, if that makes sense. That's kind of how that works. So it kind of can trigger all the fish to really start eating. All right, that with this weather pattern we're in, the warmer temps, should bode really well for our managed water, our stock trout water. Okay, so moving downhill a little bit onto the valley floor for the spring creeks or spring-fed streams, Buffalo Creek, South River, Beaver Creek, Mossy Creek. All these streams are going to be fishing really well over the next week. If we get some good downpours and get a little color in the water, which happens down here. We're on the valley floor now, so there's more silt, there's more sediment. These streams tend to get dirtier and muddier than our streams up at 2,000 and 3,000 feet. That little bit of color can really, really help you out. You know, we've got some bluebird days, which can be tough, and then we're going to have some overcast, cloudy, and stormy days. Get your rain jacket, you know, get out there 50, 55, 60 degrees and some drizzle in March can be like one of the best days to get out and catch trout. That low cloud cover gives them a little bit of cover, makes them feel good about, you know, predators not being able to see them as well, put some glare on the water, and they really get out and forage. So we're still fishing streamers on these bigger spring creeks. They really never go out of style. Sculpin minnows, things like that, Creel X's. And as far as bugs go, they're really not picky about nymphs. You just got to be at the right depth, get some good drifts. And it's still a little bit early for great hatches, but blue-wing olives still come off on these spring creeks. The fish are still going to eat them if they're very available in large numbers. Some caddis popping on the spring creeks as well. But we're still a few weeks away from really good solid hatches on a lot of our spring creeks. The ones that have freestone in them a bit more, like these hybrid streams, these, as we call them, limestoners, like the South River, that have more freestone, you'll see some more bug action on those. But the siltier streams like Mossy and Beaver, you're gonna have to wait a little bit longer for some of our big bug hatches. Keep an eye on the gauges for our larger rivers, the James and the Shenandoah. These streams are going to probably bump up quite a bit this week, depending on how much rain we get. Remember now, at this point, we're getting rainstorms on top of rainstorms. And so our sustained flows are going to be higher and higher. For those of you who don't fish the larger rivers in the spring, but pretty much go on in the summertime, get familiar with the gauges, okay? Like fishing, and if you're used to fishing a stream at 300 CFS, it may not be unusual flow for the stream to be at 1200 CFS. But if you don't know what that looks like, it can be a little intimidating. You know, there's bigger water. There's eddies where there didn't used to be. There's water where there didn't used to be. And riffles can get bigger. So you're fishing backwaters that you can't even fish other times a year. So it's important to get out there and learn the water at different levels. It's also important to start figuring out some of these spots for the early stages of these bass, where they're going to be setting up and staging, the water they're going to hold in nearby. It's not easy to figure this stuff out on a large river system. So beautiful 60-degree day. get out in your canoe, your kayak, or your boat, your raft like we have, and get out there and start enjoying the river a little bit. You might be surprised how some of the bigger fish will eat on some of these milder days, okay? Same with the musky. The musky fishing's been really, really good. But watch your gauges and your water levels, because if we get 2 to 3 big rainstorms this week, it could get a bit high. All right, that's about it for now from the fly shop. We've got everything's been coming in. Everything is stocked up. We've been putting away box after box after box. So dry flies are super stocked up. Come on by and see us. It was great. We had a huge crowd in here this past weekend. People are really getting excited about spring fishing. And we've pretty much arrived. We're gonna have some cold setbacks, but for the most part, spring fishing is here. And look forward to seeing you all on the water or in the shop. Take care.